Gamers, fevers, lurkers, grab your snacks. The underdog, the legend in his own mind. Jaybeazt, dropping memes and bringing heat. Jaybeazt, streaming starting, pull up a seat. Breaking news, trailers dropped. I reacted, maybe sound a bit shocked. New game hype, I got the tea. Call of Duty, Battlefield, come watch me. Not a big shot, just starting out, but I'll hype your chat and hype my clout. My aim's kinda bad, my joke's kinda worse, but at least I never stream with rehearse. Jaybeazt, underdog with gamer streak. Jaybeazt, laughs, reacts, chaos you seek. Warning. Jaybeazt, you may mispronounce your favorite game. Please remain calm. Chat's alive, memes flying fast. I may fail, but it's always a blast. Subscriber hype, not just some friends, but the fun and chaos never ends. Reacting, chatting, sometimes I play, even if I die in the first 5 minutes. Hey, new game breakdown, I'll nerd out loud, making jokes, looking goofy, maybe proud. Jaybeazt, underdog, but bringing fire. Jaybeazt, lo-fi beats, memes, and satire. Who's in chat? Beast back. What's the game? Total snack. Level up? Maybe not yet, but we laugh, we hype, you won't forget. Achievements, sure, but I miss a lot. Glitches, bugs, rage quits I've caught. But while the pros are flexing loot, I'm here, underdog with style and cute. Streaming news, trailers, reactions too. Sometimes I even know what I'm doing, kinda true. Chat laughs, memes fly, and everyone's hyped. Welcome to Jaybeazt, the underdog is live tonight. Jaybeazt, underdog, chaotic streak. Jaybeazt, gaming news, laughs, you seek. Not a pro, but never weak. Caution, Jaybeazt may mispronounce your famous pronounced game or make you laugh uncontrollably. Stream starting now. The fifth out.
Hello everybody. Welcome to Tuesday stream. This is gonna be quite a short one, as it is Tuesday and we don't have a lot going on. And also I'll be jumping onto Battlefield 6 pretty much right after this, as usual. That it happens these days, you know. Hope you guys all been really well and had a great weekend. Not much going on in the gaming space lately, other than a few tits and bits. Yeah, I haven't really got up too much either. Just been sort of planning my next few weeks out. It's been 4 months since I started doing this, guys. Believe it or not, it's already been 4 weeks. 4 months, 4 weeks. What am I talking about? But yeah, I can't believe it's already been that long, you know. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to think about, really. But here we are. I mean, I just started with YouTube and only started streaming about 1.5 months into making YouTube videos. And you know, it is a little bit slow in the streaming front, but I'm using this as a platform to reach out to you guys, which has been very nice. But yeah, already 4 months, and I feel like I've kind of been doing this a while, you know. In a good way. I don't mean it in a bad way. And I'm learning a lot of things. But anyway, enough of that. We will jump right into gaming news today. I do have a little bit of stuff to talk about involving Battlefield 6 as usual. There's bits and pieces of Battlefield news to cover. Not huge ones, but some of the stuff that I found were quite interesting, and I thought I'll bring them up. And also shared on Discord this morning, actually this evening. something that I came across on Instagram of all places, and then I found it again on YouTube Shorts, and I shared it on my Discord about Ghost of Yote game director. What's his name? Ghost of Yote game director. I think it's Nate Fox. I think that's his name, Nate Fox. Sucker Punch. Let's see. Just want to see his face and I know who it is. Yeah, Nate Fox. Nate Fox from Sucker Punch Studios. I think he did a interview with PlayStation Access people, and they were talking about. They must have been talking. I haven't seen the whole thing. They must have been talking about some stuff. But there was a short on YouTube that I came across where he had an interesting takes on why Sony PlayStation exclusives have been mostly very well received. And this is the take that I haven't really heard before. So I thought it was interesting to share. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but we'll talk about it in a minute. Speaking of Discord, a shout out to my boy Nate, who's joined Discord and left a really, really nice review. Not kind of a review, but like introduction, which was very kind words, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you for checking out my content regularly on TikTok and YouTube as well. Really appreciate that. And for those of you guys who don't know, I do have a Discord, but it's kind of slow. There's not a lot of people on it right now, so it's just mostly me sharing memes and news pieces and stuff. But I hope to build it out someday. So if you're watching this and if you want to join Discord, please do. I really do appreciate it. I want it to be a community where everyone can share their interest in terms of gaming and then just hang out. It will be really fun. Right now, I would like to use it as a platform to, join up with people who play Battlefield 6, and maybe we can squad up and play, So hit me up. Join the Discord if you're interested. Thank you. Anyway, let's jump into this YouTube short that I was talking about where Nate Fox said that interesting take. Let me open it up. Hang on. Let me pause the music. There you go. Alright, so it's like 30 seconds. There you go. This is Nate Fox, and I'll put it at the top. Yeah, so this is what he says. Like that. Cool. Ready? Are you guys ready? Alright, let's listen.
One of the things that's very interesting about PlayStation producers that I've learned is that their method for dealing with game development teams started from an experience of dealing with rock bands from Sony Music. So they were used to saying, well, these developers are going to be a little eccentric. We need to support that because that's where the art comes from. And that seed of experience for music, I think, is what helps PlayStation games be so alive, because the studios are really treated as artists, and that means they're going to do some weird stuff.
I mean, I love this guy. He cracks the most awkward jokes sometimes in interviews, but he's really open about it. So I really like him. Anyway, interesting take. Very quick take, but I thought it was very interesting. Mostly because this is something that I have actually never have heard anyone say in this angle. Like, this is a very interesting take. Because we tend to treat games as art. Video games, we always like, especially if you're a gamer, you always like to defend the piece that you're playing, the video game you're playing, as art, right? And especially when people, talk against games, I know as a gamer myself, I tend to get very defensive about, how games are just like another entertainment medium, much like movies and TV shows, and they are all art pieces, right? And they are an art. It's a form of art, and we very quick to come to get that conclusion about video games, which is not wrong. It is right, but we tend to forget that the artists involved in the gaming development are the developers, right? They are the artists of these games. So why not treat them as artists, right? And that's not. I feel like that's something that's missing in the gaming industry and gaming development specifically at this time, because I feel like they just most of the time with especially where big corporations involved, like Microsoft, Xbox, especially with there are a lot of layoffs going on right now, and a lot of weird managerial decisions coming from Xbox lately that kind of boggles my mind, which I will be talking about today later in this stream. I feel like it kind of makes sense that developers should be treated as artists in terms of gaming development. That's when that is if you treat them as artists, then they're going to be able to really spread their wings in terms of creativity and actually do the things that they want, and that'll make the game be a better piece. I mean, duh, right? It kind of it's one of those things that to be true when someone says it out loud, but you don't really think about, and it's such a like obvious moment for me when I heard this. Like, hell yeah, like of course, like game developers should be treated as artists. That totally makes sense, but I just don't think it happens enough, and this is why we get really shit games. Um, for an example, the latest one that we can talk about is Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye was, I think, in concept was supposed to be a pretty good game, and you can tell it had its good moments as a concept. Even the story was actually not the worst I have seen. However, in execution, it was terrible. It was terrible piece of art, if you want to call that, which just didn't turn out to be good. Why that's happening? As if you've been tuning in, you know that we talked a little bit about what's going on with Mind's Eye and Leslie Benzies, um, the CEO of Build a Rocket Boy, who made the game, and their poor leadership issues that actually had a lot of pressure put on the game developers, which actually shows in the game itself, and that makes sense. I mean, ultimately, you take away the CEOs and the managers and whatever that's in the hierarchy of the business model. The creativity comes from the developers themselves. So you need to allow them to work on their own creative ideas and actually inject those ideas into the games they're working on, instead of like controlling them and micromanaging them, which is not going to help anybody. But that's what happens in most of these companies, I feel. And it's a breath of fresh air to hear that this has been the approach mostly PlayStation has taken. I mean, we don't like to talk about Concord. I don't know what happened there. I don't think that it's the case across all the studios in PlayStation, under PlayStation wing. But it seems like most of the good games, why they're coming out of PlayStation and they mostly seems to be pretty solid, is because they are allowed for their creative freedom, and they are treated as artists. And that's what I took away from what Nate said in that little short. um, and it makes sense. It makes complete sense. And you know what, even with the creative freedom with developers, it could be a dud, it could be a mediocre game, what they end up with, that can happen. But the important thing to remember is that as creative artists that are working on games, you should be allowed that freedom, and there should be guidance. Obviously there should be guidance provided by the managers and CEOs of the company, but ultimately micromanaging is where it limits the freedom and the creativity, and then it all goes to shit. And I guess even in at Sucker Punch Studios and even Naughty Dog, they probably have that level of freedom with these artists, which is why we see great games coming out of these studios. And hopefully it will remain that way so we can get more great games moving forward. Yeah. Anyway, that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think, because I thought it was a very interesting take, which is, the whole artist angle, the fact that these Sony producers and directors that are in the gaming studios mostly have come from Sony that worked on music. That's not something I really heard or knew before now. So I thought that was really interesting. Let me know what you guys think. Anyway, it's a small thing that I want to talk about, but the other thing that I want to jump in is, let's get these out of the way because I really want to talk about the other stuff, Battlefield stuff. But this is like a very small update, very small update. Do you guys remember that I talked about that there's a Lord of the Rings game in development by some unknown studio, funded by Abu Dhabi Investment Office? You remember that? If you've been watching my live streams and videos, you'd probably know this. This wasn't well covered in the media. I think I only brief talked about it. Maybe other people have, but yeah, it was just a rumor that there was a Lord of the Rings game in development. It's been made by a fairly unknown studio. We tried to find information on that studio during the live stream, but we couldn't really dig out any. It's called Revenge Studios or something. Got a weird name. But there was a small tiny update on that article from Inside Gaming, and the update is that they have learned the deal with the Abu Dhabi Investment Office has been signed. So that's confirmed. It's currently unclear if or when a public announcement will be made. Yeah, so it looks like it's gonna go ahead. It looks like, the funding should roughly equate to 100 million, give or take. That's what they're saying. Deal has been in the works for quite a while. So this is literally all that there is. And we talked about how they're trying to compete with Hogwarts Legacy. Like, they want that game to be in the same level as Hogwarts Legacy. And we talked a lot about how that could be challenging for a fairly unknown studio to do. But then again, Hogwarts Legacy made by Avalanche Software. One of those. Man, I keep messing up Avalanche Software and Avalanche Studios. Hogwarts Legacy Studio. Avalanche Software. They were fairly not unknown. They were a fairly small studio making small games like Cars and Disney Infinity games or whatever. And then they delivered Hogwarts Legacy, which turned out to be a freaking amazing game. Not without its imperfections, but still, it was a pretty good game. Anyway, we won't get into those whole thing. I just wanted to give you a quick update about that whole thing. That it looks like it's going ahead and it's confirmed to be in development now. It's no longer a rumor, and this whole funding has been signed, which means we're probably gonna hear about it sometime soon, in the next few months or even the weeks. We don't know, but we might hear something about it officially soon. Hopefully, it's not gonna turn out to be something like a Lord of the Rings Gollum, which was their last entry from these guys. When I say these guys, I'm talking about Embracer Studios involving Embracer Studios have licensed these IP out, which they own now, to other studios, and the last entry was Gollum, and which sucked. So hopefully it's not another one of those. Oh, speaking of, you know, Lord of the Rings and other all kinds of IPs, we were just talking about how big NetEase has become and Tencent has become. Just on the last stream on Saturday, and if you guys remember, do you guys remember the game that I did a reaction to a while ago called Blood Message? This was like one of the first reaction videos I've done when I started the YouTube channel, and I was just starting out, and that game dropped, like a game trailer with like a little snippets of gameplay dropped, and I watched it, and I did a reaction, and I was mind blown by how good it looks. It looked like a really polished Assassin's Creed game with like open world elements. Probably it's not confirmed that it has open world elements. It's probably a linear narrative driven game. I'm not sure, but from the snippets, you know what, why not watch it again? Let's watch it again. So you know what I'm talking about. This is the blood message preview. Yeah, there's been like one trailer, right? And that's it. There's been one trailer, and it showed snippets. Oh, there you go. It showed snippets of like gameplay as well. It wasn't just like a cinematic trailer. And I'll just keep talking while this is going. But yeah, this trailer I reacted a couple of months ago, and it was so good. It was so good, and I kind of haven't seen anything like it. And I was blown away by how good it looks. And this is what you're seeing right now is just like, you know, maybe in-engine cutscenes. And yeah, it's made by 24 Entertainment, which is one of the studios under NetEase. So this is, I think, NetEase's like first full published open world like RPG game for consoles and PC. Like they're going all out with this, and it looks great. Look at this. Some of them look like cutscenes. Some of them look like they transition into the game itself. And it just looks so good. And at the moment I saw it, I was like, my god, I want to see more of this. I wanted to see how this goes. It just looks so good. Yeah, there's some combat scenes here. It looks so good. It looked kind of like a little bit like God of War style combat, I feel like up close and personal melee. Probably not that complicated, but just complicated enough, right? And you know, people who look good too, not just random people. Anyway, but yeah, it just looks so good, right? And I just wanted to show this to you because this is slightly relevant to what I'm gonna tell you next. Yeah, it looks like a full-on like action adventure, whatever. Like I don't even know if it's an RPG or open. I don't know, but what I'm seeing looks good, and I want to see more of it. Anyway, so that's it. That's it. So what I wanted to tell you was that NetEase is working on a new AAA single player experience. That is not Blood Message. That is not Blood Message. And this popped up on Reddit, and then this is the link they shared. Need for games, and this is the original original post from Reddit, posted by Feeling Examination 6. And I looked at it, and it says this guy was posting about it here. According to Dante Alexandru in Need for Games, what he's saying is that he's been browsing a lot and managed to discover some details about a new project that High Dive, a studio on the NetEase games Thunderfire in Montreal, is working on. On their main website, it is mentioned that they are working on a new IP, but in the job listings, I couldn't find anything interesting about the project. Yep. In the meantime, I found a user on LinkedIn who gave us some details about the project in his bio. He chose to not include any of the details of the person, so I can't go to the LinkedIn page to show you, but this is what they've shared. It says he's a narrative writer, and he's led the narrative vision for AAA console games, guiding the stories for the very first pitch. My role is about more than writing. It's about building worlds, shaping characters players will never forget, and leading a talented team of writers to bring those ideas to life. I designed new pipelines that made collaboration between writing, art, design, and audio seamless, ensuring our stories felt integrated across every layer of the game. I led the creation of expansive 20-plus hour campaign with complex character arcs, original factions, and a living, breathing world. Worked closely with voice and motion capture actors to ensure performance felt authentic and immersive. Above all, I've championed narrative quality at every stage, helping our titles achieve both critical and commercial success. And apparently, it's not Blood Message, it's another new IP. Because apparently, Blood Message is worked on by 24 Entertainment Lean On. And this is being worked on High Dive, which is a studio under NetEase Games, another studio. So, yeah. It also mentioned that it is a AAA console project, which would mean that the game will be released on all consoles plus PC, obviously. At this point, we don't know when it'll come out. We don't even know anything about it. It's just some LinkedIn stuff, right? Yeah, looks like it looks like, Blood Message is supposed to come out next year, and whatever they're working on here would probably come out after that, or will be announced next year, probably after GTA 6 rollout. After that hype died down, I think that's what they're aiming. That's when they're aiming to announce the new game. It looks it sounds pretty ambitious based on what this narrative writer says he's done for the game, he or she, we don't know. So yeah, it's pretty interesting that it's a 20+ hour campaign, which tells me it's probably a single player on rail games, not an open world game. Open world game would probably have more hours than this. But you don't know. It says 20+ hour campaign, which probably means the main story. If it's not the side quest involving side quest, if it's an open world game, we don't know any of it. I'm purely speculating here. But it looks like it's a big project that they're working on here, and they probably have plans to have this released somewhere 2027, if not later. But I thought it was interesting. Very interesting, and after seeing Blood Message, I'm definitely interested to see what NetEase has to offer in single player story driven games, because we just haven't seen those from this publisher yet. not in a big way like we're gonna see with Blood Message. And if you're gonna get more of these soon after Blood Message, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I want to know what you guys think about this as well. Um, are you familiar with NetEase games? I mean, they mostly been doing like mobile games, I think. Uh, just like Tencent have, they both have been in pretty much the mobile gaming space, but lately they've been dipping into PC gaming and console gaming, and they're going all out with it. And I think that's good. More competition to PC, uh, you know, game studios that develop games for PC and console, and more competition is good for the players. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right. What have we got here? Oh yeah. I spotted this on IGN today. I haven't read the whole article, so we might read it together. But this article is kind of funny. But it's about Battlefield 6 movement issue, the movement war between the new gen and the old gen, aka COD players or Fortnite players versus Battlefield players, right? Your legacy Battlefield players, such as myself. And just to give you context, people who's been playing Battlefield do think that the Battlefield 6 movement is a little too fast and it should be a little bit more nerfed because it's supposed to be slow and strategic. But new gen, who are mostly COD players and Fortnite players, tend to favor more faster movement, and there is an ongoing war about this whole idea. So IGN has dropped this article talking about it, which I don't know what to think, but let's dig in. Let's dig in and see what they have to say, I suppose, right? So this is the title, as it says: Battlefield 6 sparks Zoomers versus Battle Dads war over movement, but the devs are looking for somewhere in between. As it says here, Battlefield movement is top of mind for EA, Battlefield Studios, and players, as the community's latest debate has formed around the topic of Zoomers versus Battle Dads. Yeah. Few gaming communities take movement mechanics as seriously as first-person shooter fans, as gamers new and old now drop into what has become one of the most popular Battlefield games ever. Everyone's talking about what kind of player Battlefield 6 should cater to. This guy's tweeting, apparently I'm a battle dad. Ooh, I didn't mean to click on that. Now, because I enjoy playing games slower and don't want to always be zooming around. It's okay, young one. It'll hit you too one day. You'll get it and understand why it's still fun. While FPS games like Call of Duty have ramped up movement shooter mechanics with things like jetpacks, wall running, and more recently omni movement, players have long seen Battlefield as the yin to that yang, offering more methodical approach to the tactical military shooter subgenre. So when the August Battlefield 6 beta revealed mechanics that leaned more into movement shooter territory than the series had ever experienced before, long-time fans, often not so lovingly referred to as battle dads, were quick to ask for changes. Which is true. I feel like the reason why people have an issue with it is if you want faster movement FPS, you have a lot of options for those. You have a lot of options, like Call of Duty. Starting with Call of Duty and every other single game that you can find in this space cater to that fast movement style. The reason why people were so happy to get a new Battlefield and quick to jump on it is because this has been one of those I mean, if you're really hardcore, you can play like Hell Let Loose, which is another FPS war it's almost like a war simulator. It's almost too hardcore for most of us. And Battlefield provided the middle ground between the casual vibe of Call of Duty with the dark, gritty strategic play style of like a war simulator, similar to Hell Let Loose, um, which is not as not as it's a little bit more forgiving than Hell Let Loose or any other war simulator type game. So I think, given if you look into that type of game, there's not a lot of options out there. So that's why people wanted this to be similar to what other Battlefields have been, like old Battlefield games have been, like more slower, more strategical, because we don't have a lot of options in that space. So if you're getting a Battlefield game, we should have that, not cater to every other game, what every other game said. That's why the battle dads have an issue with it, and I think it's fair. Because if you want to play it like COD, you can just play COD, right? I think that's the argument here. But let's go back to the article. EA and BF Studios obliged, announcing that Battlefield 6 movement has been tweaked to create more balanced and traditional Battlefield experience later that same month. Changes included reduced horizontal speed and a hit-to-jump momentum that many had used to dance around others. Shooting while jumping or sliding was also nerfed, thus causing a stir amongst the newer fans, often called Zoomers, who typically favored movement shooters such as Call of Duty. You can probably see where this is going. Well, yeah. Battlefield Studios did the right thing by actually nerfing those movements, because it came down to the reason why this Battlefield 6 has been a huge success is because the people who have been dormant without a proper video game such as this to go back into, and with the Call of Duty going the way it's going, a lot of the people who sort of gave up on playing these FPS shooters kind of came back. And I know a few myself as well who did that, and they weren't even playing Call of Duty, but now they've finally coming back to Battlefield. That's why we have a lot of people on these servers now. It's not just Call of Duty people coming to it and battle dads returning. It's those people who weren't playing because they just simply didn't like the direction Call of Duty took. They didn't want any of that, and even the last few Battlefields games have not been good, and they were just happy to get a good Battlefield game, and now they're jumping in. And I do understand most people are curious and jumping in to check out what it is, and also there are COD players just jumping in kind of because of the hype for it. But ultimately, it was a success because all these people were coming into it. So Battlefield Studios did a right thing by listening to the fans and actually nerfing those movements. You can let me know if you don't agree with me and why that is. I don't mind. Let me know in the comments below. This is another one. DICE has that's just an update. Another AAA studio gutting movement to cater to people that play games 1 hour a week that will never run into people utilizing movement tech anyway. Yeah, okay. Oh, go fly a kite, bro. Content creator and ex-user. If you want movement in your shooter, go play COD. Battlefield's a different kind of game. Yeah, I feel like this whole war between Zoomers and battle dads is kind of a pointless one. And it is ultimately two opinions crashing, two preferences crashing. But I think we just need to look into the history of Battlefield and how it's catered to its fans, and then make a decision based on that. Call of Duty, on the other hand, has always been the faster FPS. They always focused on fast movement style, and they just doubled down on it as the series went along. Whereas Battlefield never really did that. They stuck to their guns, being a dark, gritty shooter, although we don't really talk about Battlefield 2042. It's when Battlefield DICE lost the plot and had to reevaluate, and that's why this took such a long time before Battlefield 6 could be announced, because they had to take hiatus. But ultimately, Battlefield has always been a tactical shooter. It's more strategic. It's more slow. It's not completely slow, but it is slower than the other options available in this space. And I think it should remain that way if they want to retain the fans who play 1 hour a week. Although it's not the case. It's not the case. I'm telling you, it's not the case. People who have jumped on it are playing a lot of Battlefield right now because they truly enjoy it. They truly enjoy it. Let me show you something. Battlefield 6 Steam DB charts. Okay, this is the Steam charts for Battlefield right now. Okay, right now it's only got 147,000 people right now. I don't know what time it is in US. This is probably affecting because of the US player base, but just 24-hour peak was 400,000. Okay, 400,000 this morning when I checked, it was 400,000. Okay, so a lot of people are playing this, and just to compare, right? Just to compare, Call of Duty Steam DB charts. This was their 24-hour peak. 51,000 was their 24-hour peak. Okay, and they have 17,000 players playing Call of Duty right now. Where are all the Call of Duty players, dude? Are they playing Battlefield? Yeah, I guess so. But don't be complaining that it doesn't play like COD. That's what I'm saying. If you want to play COD, you can go back to COD. There's a new one coming in a couple of weeks too. You know, no one's gonna stop you. You can just play. I mean, get a Game Pass. You can just play for free, kind of free. But yeah, I think you should leave Battlefield players to play Battlefield the way it should be played. And if you don't want to play it, and if you don't agree with the way it plays, you really should consider going back to Call of Duty because it's missing some players right now. You should be supporting the games that you like, you know, and just like we support the games that we like. They don't have it doesn't have to be an opinion crash or a war between these two different types of people. They can coexist together. You just have to find the game that works for you instead of trying to change the game that you're playing. That doesn't, you know, when other people are fine with it. You know what I mean? We don't try to change Call of Duty. Call of Duty is Call of Duty, dude. They have all the crazy skins and they have omni movement and all that, and they will always probably gonna have that. I don't think they're gonna change huge. They're not gonna do a whole 180 and make it Battlefield. I don't think they would do that, and that's because of the player base, and most of the players actually prefer the way it is, and that's totally fine. That's completely fine. But Battlefield, that's not what players want. So they're just gonna cater to the players who actually gonna keep these servers alive for the next year or two, right? Not the COD players who are jumping on the hype and playing it for a month and then ditch it when the new Call of Duty Black Ops 7 comes. I think it's just as simple as that. It doesn't have to be this huge debate. It's very simple. So yeah. Anyway, I just needed to bring that up a little bit. There's a lot more here to this article. I think they're just talking about all this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The gist of it is that there's all these people fighting on the internet about this movement and everything about Battlefield and everything about Call of Duty. But I just think we just need to coexist as COD players and Battlefield players and not infecting the one another. We just don't need to do that. COD players play COD, Battlefield players play Battlefield, and there's that, you know. And nobody's asking you to play both. If you want to play both, that's fine too. No one's gonna judge you. But don't be trying to like change one game to like, you know, just because it doesn't match your style. Just find the game that matches your style because there are options. That's it. That's really it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this whole Zoomers versus Battle Dad situation. Are you a Zoomer? Are you a Battle Dad? Let me know. And if you hated my take as a Battle Dad, let me know that too. We can talk about it. Join my Discord. We can hang out and debate about it if you want. But yeah, interesting, man. Interesting that it sparks a lot of controversy lately. It's very weird. It's very weird. I mean, it's a game. We just enjoy. Just play the game, you know. Anyway. Speaking of COD versus Battlefield, I saw this on my feed today. This is a video that IGN had put out 3 days ago. I haven't seen it. I just saw it pop up today, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's watch this together. So, yeah, let's just jump in because I don't really know. I don't really know what they're talking about here. The title is The Last Great Gaming Rivalry. Probably so. Probably so. Let's have a look.
Get your head down and keep moving!
The age of video game rivalries is coming to an end. As markets shift, corporations merge, and fortunes change, the hostilities that once defined the industry have become legends of the past. Sonic the Hedgehog is welcome in the Mushroom Kingdom anytime. Madden buried NFL 2K more than 20 years ago. Forza and Marcus Phoenix have shed the bonds of exclusivity, and it seems like any day now we'll be pressing square to reload a needler. The inconceivable has become reality as gaming grows ever flatter and consolidated, but there's at least one front where the fight is still on. This is Call of Duty versus Battlefield, the last great gaming rivalry.
Okay. What are you gonna tell me?
The two global superpowers of first-person shooters have been locked in conflict for decades, and their simmering Cold War is about to heat up. EA's Battlefield has been on the back foot for most of it, forced to play catch-up in their fight for conquest. Activision's Call of Duty has achieved full domination of the FPS space, but success fuels complacency, and the tides of war can turn in an instant. The field is pitched for what could be their biggest showdown yet, so we're taking a look at how the feud between COD and BF has fueled both franchises to greatness. Call of Duty and Battlefield evolved in parallel, capitalizing on trends and creating their own within a rapidly changing industry. The combatants borrow frequently from each other, trading ideas in a back-and-forth arms race of dopamine optimization. They're the Goku and Vegeta of video games, the seemingly unbeatable alpha and a challenger
Dragon Ball
who
fan.
refuses to accept being second best, burning with the need to surpass their rival no matter how unlikely it may seem. And just like the Saiyans, pushing each other to the limit only makes them stronger. Iron sharpens iron after all, and few rivalries have spent as much time in the forge as this one. To understand the casus belli that led us to today, we begin, as most conflicts do, with a prelude to war.
Good job, Private. Well done. Keep your weapons with you and clean at all times. You are
Get to the
dismissed.
point, maybe.
Battlefield 1942 and the original Call of Duty launched in 2002 and 2003 respectively, emerging
History lesson,
in
my
a
friends.
post-Y2K culture that traded turn-of-the-millennium optimism for Jack Bauer, Joe Millionaire, and deceptively labeled System of a Down songs snagged from Kazaa. The sixth generation of gaming consoles were firing on all cylinders by this point in their life cycles, a time of rapid growth and growing confidence in 3D game design. They became closer to their PC contemporaries, with in-depth CRPGs finding huge success on home consumer hardware. Consoles also converged on the PC's multiplayer advantages. System-Link LAN parties were a sight to behold, but the real action was online. The PS2 had an optional modem, while Xbox Live launched in 2002. Not with Halo, but Unreal Championship, a console spin on the premier PC shooter. The PC was the birthplace of online FPS after all, fast-paced, physics-defying sci-fi arcade romps where competition meant glowing bounce pads and floating power-ups. GoldenEye 007 broke ground on the N64, but truly realistic shooters of the time lived on PC, aimed squarely at the hardcore audience.
Oh, I remember
These
Operation
titles remained
Flashpoint. I
relatively
love
niche
this
for the
game, dude.
era, perhaps because the modern setting is too fresh for an IRL audience recently thrust into a tragic global conflict. There was, however, an ideal release valve sitting over in the world of Hollywood. Released 5 years prior to the Iraq War, Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan inspired a wave of World War II themed video games.
Love this
led by
movie.
Spielberg's own Medal of Honor. Published by EA in 1999. the
Oh,
historical
Medal of
setting
Honor.
it and
Dude, they need to bring this IP back. I'm telling you. I used to love Medal of Honor games, dude. It sucks what happened to them.
Its sequels offered enough distance from current events to prove palatable. Medal of Honor's gameplay was grounded but far more forgiving than the sweaty tactical shooters of the time, capitalizing on the cinematic intensity of war to raise adrenaline. The third game in the series, the PC-exclusive Allied Assault, introduced multiplayer to the mix.
I have
Soon,
played
a
that.
Swedish studio named DICE and its newly acquired developer Refraction Games threw their helmets into the fray with Battlefield 1942.
Yeah.
Released for PC in 2002, BF 1942 traded the storytelling and grit of its contemporaries in exchange for large-scale chaotic combat. Tanks trolled the deserts of El Alamein, and dogfighters strafed the beaches of Wake Island, while players fought as specialized classes working together to conquer their opponents. It was the anarchic action of earlier games like
You know, I really hope we get a remake of the Wake Island map in Battlefield 6. This gotta be one of my favorite maps. Gotta be, 100%. They have to remake
the
this.
fresh coat of olive drab, and it became one of EA's breakout hits of the era. A year later, without much fanfare, a group of Medal of Honor developers split to form their own team, taking the expertise that crafted the Omaha Beach showcase of Allied Assault and founding their own studio, Infinity Ward, with Call of Duty as their debut title. God-tier graphics, booming sound.
It started with Battlefield, dude. I mean, I saw there's a news going around, like, you know, the reason why Call of Duty was formed because EA, you know, management were dicks or something. I mean, whatever the reason may be, Battlefield is kind of where it started all, and they split and made competition.
And a captivating campaign, something Battlefield eschewed entirely, made it a surprise hit. COD 1 outpaced BF 1942 at retail on the strength of its single player, but its online aspect wasn't much more than an afterthought. It would take years for Call of Duty to catch up to Battlefield's multiplayer advantage by
That is
taking
true.
a page from its book.
That is true. Interesting history tip. Not tip, I mean J tip. When I first got into Call of Duty as a kid, I didn't even play the multiplayer. The multiplayer wasn't even like that huge for Call of Duty. I played it purely for the campaigns. The campaigns were amazing, and they were like these big action set pieces that you could play. You literally felt like you were just living out like a war movie, you know? And it was awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, I think it wasn't until much later, you know, Call of Duty multiplayer became this huge thing that people were getting into. It's interesting. I just remember that I only really played the campaign as a kid. Didn't even play the multiplayer until much later.
The success of Battlefield 1942 led to a sequel, Battlefield Vietnam. It was a solid follow-up, but the setting didn't really do it for people. So in true early 2000s fashion, players did it themselves. The massive mod scene of BF 1942 led to several total conversions. World War I, the Star Wars galaxy, Finland. One mod stood above all others, bringing the action into the modern-ish era of the First Gulf War. Desert combat. It was so huge that DICE bought the devs and canonized their efforts as Battlefield 2. 2005's BF2 added squad-based combat and a unique commander role to bring order to the massive combat zones.
And sorry, I gotta stop right there. This is why I say it is important that you listen to the fans of the legacy Battlefield, you know, players. Because, like I said, like literally this game is built on player feedback and what the players wanted. And it will be the ultimate betrayal for Battlefield studios is just to go back on those guys and just do something that caters to people who don't even play this game. Wouldn't even play this game months down the line. People who are going to stick to playing this game are the hardcore people, not even the hardcore people, just the legacy people who loved Battlefield from the beginning, you know? Just saying. I'm just saying.
49 in all, although many players planted themselves in 24/7 Carcan servers and called it a day. The modern setting of BF2 was a major draw. The wars we watched on the news had become the background of our lives, and players were eager to leave the 1940s behind. It was time for a contemporary setting that was urgent and of the now, not a century from now. DICE's futuristic sequel, Battlefield 2142, never caught on. Call of Duty was slower to come around on the idea, releasing 2 more games set in the Second World War. 2005's Call of Duty 2 offered a great multiple perspective campaign and debuted innovations we take for granted, like grenade indicators and regenerating health. It sold gangbusters as an Xbox 360 launch title and staved off the sense of World War II fatigue for at least 1 more year. Call of Duty 3, the first in the series not developed by Infinity Ward, failed to push the concept further. Treyarch's debut was an awkward middle child without much new to say, a fun but empty filler episode in the family saga. Fans had grown sick of the setting.
I don't know, man, I kind of liked it.
Seized control of the 21st century and beyond, while COD was still listening to Fibber McGee and Molly on the wireless. Battlefield claimed the crown of modern combat first, but Call of Duty perfected it and rewrote the rules of gaming forever.
Yeah, Modern Warfare was a huge hit. Rightfully so. So was the remake. They nailed the remake too. I loved Modern Warfare.
2007's Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is a watershed moment for modern video games. It
That is
propelled
true.
COD into the present with a blockbuster campaign indistinguishable from a military glazing Michael Bay movie. More than that, it fundamentally altered our relationship with online multiplayer. Online FPS was no longer all about winning. COD 4 created a paradigm that rewarded players just for showing up and sticking around. An XP-based progression system offered dopamine hits in every match regardless of outcome, unlocking customizable loadouts of weapons, attachments, perks, and kill streaks. It's innovation stacked on innovation, and when you reach the pinnacle, you just can't help but hit that button and start it all over again. Modern Warfare turned multiplayer FPS into a lifestyle, a second job you clocked into because that martyrdom perk isn't going to unlock itself. Battlefield beat COD to the concept of modern combat, but Call of Duty made it addictive. For the first time, Battlefield found itself chasing Call of Duty, surpassed in power by the foe they once dominated. How would they respond? First came 2008's Battlefield Bad Company, a modern-day console spin-off that introduced DICE's Frostbite
I love the
engine
Bad
and
Company
its
games.
destructible environments. The campaign excelled with a cast of wisecracking soldiers,
Oh, yeah.
wide-open missions, and genuine heart and humor. Bad Company 2 refined the formula and brought the series back to PC, but the pair never landed a decisive blow.
I don't
Call
know.
of Duty
I
had
liked it.
become a cultural behemoth. Each new release was a bona fide happening. Midnight launches wrapped around GameStops.
This is
Xbox
where the
Live
shift
servers
to-
buckling under the strength of millions, and even your snack eye.
This is where the shift to like hard, fast movement shooting happened, I think, and like the player base kind of got divided here.
While joining the war effort with Double XP, Doritos, and Dew. Battlefield took a long, hard look at COD's appeal and came back with the most ambitious assault yet. 2011's Battlefield
Oh, yeah.
3.
This was a beautiful game. Still holds up to this day, bro. Look at those graphics.
Everything about BF3 screamed blockbuster, from the collapsing skyscrapers of Frostbite 2 to the box art's blue and orange color scheme, an eye-catching clash of cool and warm that was ruthlessly exploited by the media of the era. If it wasn't obvious that Battlefield was explicitly gunning for COD, a cheeky advertising slogan made it clear: above and beyond the call. BF3's main strategy for surpassing COD was to borrow heavily from its playbook, taking progression systems, unlockable loadouts, and tighter infantry combat, and marrying them to the huge scale of Battlefield. It worked extremely well, though its lackluster campaign mode did not measure up to COD's tightly scripted set-piece parades. Battlefield can't beat Call of Duty at its own game, but BF3 straddled the line between sandbox heritage and zeitgeisty grind to become something unique and successful. Still, Battlefield 3 could not escape Call of Duty's shadow. Modern Warfare 3 outsold it to the tune of tens of millions, but a series of high-profile missteps was about to open up an opportunity for Battlefield, one it would fumble spectacularly.
Jammers 500 meters north. We'll leg it from here. Let's go.
Where the remakes are confirmed, I think Modern Warfare 1 was probably the only good remake. The other two kind of sucked
It was a
hard.
blessing and a curse. With two studios trading swings, every November became natural selection in real time. Strongest mutations lived on in Call of Duty's DNA, while evolutionary dead ends were ruthlessly culled. It's a lot of bites at the apple, but that opportunity comes with a cost. Treyarch cooked with its Black Ops sub-franchise in the 2010s, but Infinity Ward struggled after the studio's founders split to form Respawn. Unwilling to break the yearly streak, Activision tapped Sledgehammer Games to get Modern Warfare 3 out the door in 2011, while Infinity Ward got back on its feet. The yearly grind did not slow down despite the rebuilding period. Other Activision developers were recruited to help deliver 2013's title, the disappointing Call of Duty Ghosts.
So we have
Oh man,
fish.
I remember
Move out of the
this
way when
one.
You get close to them.
I remember the fish memes. Oh man, do you guys remember the fish meme? No, we go fish AI. Oh, Call of Duty Ghosts sucked, dude. I actually bought that game with my money.
Ghost's reputation haunts the franchise to this day. It's not a horrendous game, but it is an uninspired one. Its utter lack of riz dulled the enthusiasm created at the heights of Modern Warfare mania, and rumblings of oversaturation first reared their head. It was the perfect opportunity for EA to strike with a new Battlefield title that could shift the tide of the rivalry for good. The success of BF3 was extremely promising, and Battlefield 4 came out guns blazing with impressive visuals and refined mechanics. It was
Oh, yeah.
awesome when you could play it. A multiplayer shooter lives and dies by its netcode, and in a series that relies so heavily on precision gunplay and bullet drop physics, it's kind of important that the game knows when you hit somebody. BF4 did not, at least not reliably, and months of server issues squandered its
Yeah.
golden opportunity to dethrone Call of Duty.
It is
BF4
true.
game-
Battlefield 4 had major, severe server issues at first, and this is the reason why people were rightfully worried about Battlefield 6's launch, because it was huge. It was huge. But they ultimately fixed it, and Battlefield 4 became one of the best.
Gameplay was by and large an improvement on its predecessor, but it was essentially just more. Nothing that really aimed for the stars, especially its severely unexceptional campaign. This was not a game that would pull them ahead of Call of Duty, and neither was Battlefield Hardline. This Battlefield Gaiden was developed not by DICE, but by single-player veteran Visceral Games. Hardline's fantastic war on drugs story wasn't enough to overcome the distinct sense of un-Battlefieldness.
I feel like this is when Battlefield kind of started losing the plot. Don't get me wrong, Battlefield Hardline was kind of a good game actually, like multiplayer-wise. I did kind of enjoy it, but it was the most Battlefield game I have ever played. And I feel like they were trying so hard to catch up to what Call of Duty was trying to do and try to do the same thing, and they were losing their identity in the process. It took them a while to understand that.
That came with the Miami Vice aesthetic. It was a dilution of the brand at the worst possible time, while Call of Duty kept on trucking. After Sledgehammer helped out on Modern Warfare 3, Activision dug the studio's vibe and welcomed it into the COD polycule. The two-developer schedule wasn't making anyone happy, and a third studio was a relief. The devs now had 3 whole years to work on each game. Sledgehammer's first release, under the new cadence, was the admirable, Titanfall-inspired Advanced Warfare. Treyarch was increasingly the A-team by this point. Black Ops took big swings and embraced experimentation, leading to home runs like Zombies, a bona fide phenomenon born from a quirky evolutionary offshoot, the kind of mutation that makes cilantro taste like soap for some people. Call of Duty might not be the first series you think of when you hear personality, but there's real depth to be found in COD's voluminous canon. Most franchises could only dream of establishing an expansive fictional world beloved by millions of fans, but between Zombies, Blops, and 2 Modern Warfares, Call of Duty has at least 3. It's hard to keep up. The yearly schedule shaped COD in a hyperbolic time chamber of constant iteration, while Battlefield always had to focus on being Battlefield. COD's flexibility, its almost shameless willingness to adapt, would serve the series well as it entered a new war zone.
Battlefield 1. This is one of the
Battlefield's
best.
moment of redemption arrived in 2016, pitted against Infinite Warfare, the first COD released by Infinity Ward under the new triumvirate. The distant future setting received a mixed reaction, leaving an opening in their flank for Battlefield to fix bayonets and strike. Battlefield 1 turned the clock back to the First World War, a setting infrequently explored in video games. Slow, agonizing trench warfare seemed like an ill fit for the trickshot insanity of Battlefield, but a loose approach to history kept the action authentically over the top, and the fresh context helped DICE deliver one of its best campaigns ever, a rollicking war anthology with spectacle
true.
to spare. Infinite Warfare won the sales battle, as COD almost always does, but Battlefield 1's success showed that the franchise was still in the fight. For the first time since BF2, the contrast with Call of Duty was crystal clear. Then, they both went back to World War II. Sledgehammer's Call of Duty World War II didn't rock the world, but the 2018 launch of Battlefield 5 halted EA's momentum in its tracks. The setting was old hat, the launch was mired with similar technical issues as BF4, and the discourse did not do it any favors. Most of it was culture war chaff, but fans had some legit concerns about the game's roadmap and lack of identity. DICE was clearly studying its rival with time to kill tweaks and smaller, tighter maps, but every change only sparked skirmishes between old-school Battlefield stands and those craving something more COD-like. The division, some unfair, some valid, didn't help BF5's sales. It missed EA's forecasts and stopped Battlefield's ambition.
I know a lot of people didn't like Battlefield 5, but I feel like I've played a good amount of it and did enjoy it. It was different. It was different, and it had a lot of issues. But I don't think I'm ready to call it the worst though. 2042 definitely bad, downright bad. But I feel like Battlefield 5 was kind of getting there. It wasn't half bad.
Of overcoming COD on its own terms, though a new development in the online FPS space meant fresh territory ripe for the taking: the rise of Battle Royale. Gamers' long love affair with KDR and capture points was beginning to lose steam. They yearned for loot, shrinking circles of survival, piping hot chicken dinners. The dominance of PUBG and Fortnite sent a
I hate
flaming
this era.
arrow across the bow
I
of both
bloody
COD
hated this
and
era.
Battlefield. 5 months after the shaky release of Battlefield 5, DICE unleashed Firestorm, a battle royale that flopped immediately. The casualty of poor matchmaking, a high cost of entry, and being shackled to a game people were already abandoning en masse. Call of Duty was having problems of its own in 2018. Deadline issues with Black Ops 4 forced Treyarch to scrap the campaign for the first time in series history and focus its efforts on cooperative modes, which is a decent euphemism for you have to do a battle royale. Sorry, it sounds opportunistic, but there was no reason to delay the inevitable. Ops 4's Blackout was extremely encouraging, and its successor devastated the live service landscape like a tactical nuke. Warzone, released in 2020, was the ultimate evolutionary leap. Cross-platform and free-to-play, it offered tight gunplay and game feel honed by nearly 20 years of trial and error, and tweaked the Battle Royale formula to adapt to COD, not the other way around. Big lobbies, a cash economy, and the masterstroke that is the gulag made Warzone instantly distinct. Revenues
For us
were
dropping
through the
big
roof.
words
Call of
and
Duty
saying
had
not much.
regained its swagger. Still reeling from the failure of imagination that was BF5, Battlefield 2042 went for reinvention. Stalwart classes became flashy hero shooter specialists. Instead
Yeah,
of tight
this
squad
sucked.
play, players donned windsuits and grappling hooks to zip across empty maps the size of Wyoming. The game felt incomplete thanks to bizarre omissions like scoreboards and in-game voice chat, along with the usual launch bugs and encroaching live service elements. But those are all superficial compared to the core problem. Too much had changed, and unlike the more versatile COD's ability to support a fairly broad spectrum of gameplay ideas, Battlefield needs to feel like Battlefield. BF 2042 did not. It was received poorly, sold poorly, and reflected poorly on a franchise in retreat. The Battlefield isn't out of the fight yet. Battlefield has burned through a lot of the goodwill it's earned over the years, but the audience is fickle, and one great game can make a major difference, especially when your competition is coasting. For all its evolutionary advantages, Call of Duty's rotating studio strategy is not perfect. Stagnation is bound to set in. 2019's Modern Warfare reboot was Infinity Ward's enjoyable, oddly sauceless spin on its original hit, with a 64-player ground war mode inspired by Battlefield, a sign that even the market leader couldn't resist borrowing from number 2. Sledgehammer Games continued its World War II saga with the largely unloved Vanguard, but in 2022 once again found itself unexpectedly working on a video game called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. It began as an expansion pack for Modern Warfare 2 until a change of plans meant Sledgehammer had to bang out a fully loaded new COD in more than a year. Meanwhile, Treyarch and its single-player specialist friends at Raven Software are holding steady, a solid set of hands that consistently deliver even after mid-development shakeups like Black Ops Cold War. This year, BLOPS is going back-to-back for the first time. Black Ops 6 and 7 were developed side-by-side for a consecutive release in 2024 and 2025. 7's 4-year dev cycle is the longest in series history, plenty of time to reassess what Call of Duty looks like in the modern era. The grotesque propagation of licensed content in Call of Duty has come under fire as a bridge too far from COD's core values, contributing to the so-called Fortnitification of the franchise. In a shocking move, Treyarch signaled a pullback on carry-forward crossovers into Black Ops 7, and even turned down the kinds of brand deals that welcomed Nicki Minaj, the Ninja Turtles, Beavis, and Butthead into the fold. It's probably a wise decision, but it's also the first time Call of Duty has flinched in a while. Juggernauts
That
like
is
COD
true.
aren't in the business of buckling to fan pressure. It might have something to do with the beta buzz of the back-to-basics Battlefield 6. BF6 is an identity reset for the series. Classes are back, destruction reigns supreme, and the guns are accurate and deadly. The beta tests for BF6 have generated a surprising amount of excitement. There's a sense of optimism around Battlefield for the first time in a while, precarious though it may be. The war must go on. The greatest video game rivalries didn't last as long as their reputations. Countless console manufacturers have broken through enemy lines only to surrender shortly thereafter. Sega and Nintendo's storied animosity lasted just 11 years.
Damn.
Madden only went head-to-head with 2K for 6, but unks everywhere still debate their favorite football franchise. Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter are still technically at odds after 3 decades, but they serve such completely different audiences now, there's no real need to compete. Not so with COD and Battlefield. Eternal sparring partners, forever testing each other's limits, locked in a grudge match that refuses to fade into mergers or vanish into nostalgia like so many before. Both franchises are fighters, the last of a dying and more interesting era. Together, Call of Duty and Battlefield have brought out the best in each other and reshaped gaming more than once. It'll be a sad day if the knockout blow ever comes, because the fight itself is the point. The fight keeps them honest. The fight keeps them alive. Thanks for
Okay, interesting video, but I'm not sure what he said last is kind of the point that I thought he was gonna make. It's kind of weird to think that there would be any sort of a merger or any sort of a end of a fight would happen between Call of Duty and Battlefield. I mean, like you just said, the fight itself is kind of the point, you know, and I just don't see that's ending anytime soon. I just don't think that fight is dying. It might go away for a while and it might come back, just like it did right now. You know, after 2042, Battlefield retreated, and Call of Duty dominated the FPS space for good 5-6 years. Even, you know, I guess, you know, COVID itself also probably helped a lot of that as well. People were stuck in their houses and they had nothing to play. The same reason why Assassin's Creed Valhalla did so well, despite being a pretty mid game. But ultimately, Battlefield did make a return in Battlefield 6. and gave a lot of competition to Call of Duty, so much so that they did flinch. They did sort of started reevaluating their decisions and the direction they're taking with Call of Duty, which is important. It is much needed thing to. It is a much needed thing to happen. It is a much needed thing to have this competition between these two franchises. Like I have said before, it will mean that we get better games as players for both Call of Duty and Battlefield. I just don't think this fight will go away anytime soon, mostly because Activision is here, Electronic Arts is here. They're both massive, big, massive publishers that are pretty competitive with each other. I just don't think, IPs so massive as Call of Duty and Battlefield will have any sort of merger or end of a fight where one wins over the other. I think eventually they will come to coexist as they do right now. I know there's a lot of rivalry going on between both players as well as the devs themselves, but I think ultimately Battlefield 6 Battlefield 6 has finally realized like this is what the players want, and they're going to continue down that path, hopefully without changing too much of it, and they will continue to receive player feedback and adjust and keep up with the trends and keep their game interesting with the future Battlefield entries as well, I hope. And it'll be its own thing, while Call of Duty will coexist along with Battlefield doing their own thing. And I think that's the way it should go. There will be obviously some rivalry between them, and I hope that continues, because that will keep both games to improve. That will force both games to improve themselves, and to make sure that they keep working on it instead of ignoring the fans and the players of the game, like Call of Duty have been doing for the past few years, because they just kind of had the monopoly in the in the space. Only because of Battlefield they're listening now, and that shouldn't be the case. They should continue to listen to their fans and their players and get that feedback and tweak their game. And I hope they just continue to do that and coexist with each other, and that's when we will get best of both, and it's a win for the players. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this rivalry between Call of Duty and Battlefield, and what's your take on IGN's video on that, and if you agree with any of the stuff that this guy said. I don't know what his name was. Yeah, I mean, anyway, let me know in the comments if you agree with any of this, and yeah. And if you're a Call of Duty fan, or if you're a Battlefield fan, if you're both, let me know in the comments. Or else, I think this is a good time for us to move on to more Battlefield news that I said that I wanted to talk about. Let me close these. Yeah. So speaking of Battlefield stuff, right? We did have another couple of articles that I spotted that I thought was kind of funny. Wanted to talk about those. This one, you're too good for camo. Battlefield 6 players can't help but poke fun at absurd orange recon skin. I haven't seen this myself, but Battlefield 6 is giving fans some of the most cinematic Die-hard fans of military shooters like Call of Duty and Battlefield have spent the last few years arguing about what plays, if any, goofy skins have in their favorite video games. Although EA and Battlefield Studios latest has largely dodged the conflict, it's not managed to emerge from the wreckage completely unscathed. So I think this is the skin that they're talking about here. Seems to be a recon skin that you want, called Dead Side unlock. I don't know what the unlock assignment is. You know what? Why don't we just go to Battlefield 6 and check out the skins, because you know what, I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 6. I haven't bothered to go and check whatever the skin that they're talking about, you know. I haven't bothered to check them, honestly. Like I've been just non-stop playing the game and just dropping into Conquest and Rush and just playing it. Just haven't bothered to check what we got to unlock or whatever. I've just been, you know, playing the game, like literally just jumping into sessions and just playing the part, you know. I haven't really bothered to look at the challenges. I haven't really bothered about my KD. I haven't really bothered about whether I made the top 10. Like none of that. I was just trying to play the part, because that's what I always love doing in Battlefield. Just not worry about, you know, whether I'm getting the best KD or all that stuff that you normally worry when you play Call of Duty. You're just happy to be part of the squad and just try to help win, you know, just collectively. And I was just trying to do that. So I haven't really gone into the loadouts and like checked out what we got and like what to unlock and all that stuff. So why don't we do that now? Why don't we do that now? All right, so here we go. Appearances. So I got the Phantom Edition, so I've unlocked these for actually, but other than that I haven't really looked at what we got here. So okay, let's go here. Let's look at the recon skin that they were talking about. Is it here? These are pretty okay. Pretty okay skins. This is the... Is that the... You can't really see, can you? Let me just move my thingy. Yeah. Move to the side. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, so that looks normal. This looks normal. This looks normal. Ooh, what's this sword? Well, okay. I think these factions have pretty normal skins, I suppose. We've got recon here. What is it? Can we see it here? This is what I have right now. These are all the other recon. These seems pretty normal skins. Where's the crazy one that we saw? Where is it? They're all good. Am I supposed... Is it like, you know... They don't have anything else. They haven't unlocked the... They don't have a store yet. Do they? I don't know, dude. Didn't they say recon? They said recon, didn't they? Customize. Ah, okay. To go into these, they have more. Hey, I didn't know that. Here's that one. Oh, jeez, you look like Spider-Man. Oh, looks like Spider-Man. Dude, that is so easy to spot. Look at that. That. You can just spot them from a mile away. Hey, I had these. Yo. What's the difference between this and that? That's evergreen. And that's seeker. Ooh, that I like that. New changes to that. Dude, see, I have unlocked some stuff I didn't even know. Oh, you could go into these and like change. That's cool. All right. Let's go to assault and let's see what we got here. Customize. Oh man, I have unlocked some stuff here. This is the Scorch, the same skin group, I think, cosmetic group. Yeah, those ones are kind of weird. They kind of, I mean, they're not bad compared to like Call of Duty. You know, Call of Duty is crazy, but these kind of still like that's good for desert. Desert. Yeah, cool. Hey, I like that. Change that. Kind of, I look like Buzz Lightyear, but you know, I kind of like that. Engineer doesn't have crazy skins now, do they? Hey, I have another skin here. I have unlocked 2 types of different skins. Fireteam Espada. Hey, look at that. Oh, look at a bug. Look at a bug eye thing. Hey, that's cool. I like that. Quite normal. Quite normal. What do we got here? This one. So it should have the green, orange thing here too. Yeah. Okay. You know what? This orange one is actually not that bad. That you can kind of get away with that. That's not like, doesn't make you look like Spider-Man. You know. I think that's pretty okay. It's just the Recon one that's a little bit out there, I think. Turn that one. Yeah. Support. I haven't unlocked much of stuff for support, but customize. Here's the orange version. Oh, they do not have the orange version for that one. Is it this one? Oh, I think it might be this one. I don't know. Looks like they don't have one for that. Interesting, eh? Keep that. Actually, I might like this one better. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. What about the other factions? I haven't even checked those. You could. Oh, here. Yeah, these are not bad. I think it's just literally just that one skin. Unit details. What about, there was another skin that I saw going around. Coyote Scott. I think it's like a skin that you unlock. Whoa, okay. Hey, I have this. Yeah, I gotta equip that one. Look at this one. That's crazy, dude. That's a bit too much. See, this is too much. This might be a little too much. I totally get why that might be too much. This is okay. It's like, you know, something that stands out, that doesn't make sense for warfare. Like, the whole point of a camouflage is to camouflage yourself, not stand out. Like, this guy is gonna stick out like a sore thumb in Battlefield, and especially in Battlefield. Like, it's so easy to spot if you stick out with bright colors, because everything is kind of dull in the map, and everything, every element that you see, right? Everything's kind of little too dull. So yeah, man, I don't know. What do you guys think about all this? There was another skin that I think this is the one. Desert Locust. I don't know. Yeah, I think it might be this one. I'm not sure if it's this one, but I saw something similar, but it looked very yellow. You unlock it by getting 50 kills without dying, and somebody unlocked that. And I saw news. I'll see if I can bring up that article after I quit the game. But I saw that going around everywhere, and I thought, interesting, huh? Standard issue. Oh, okay. I'm gonna change that, because I've had this for a while now. Had this for a while now. You can customize that. Oh, you can customize that too. I didn't know that. I've unlocked a whole bunch of stuff in this department. Well, there you go. Hey, at least one good thing came about. You guys made me look into this. Hey, that's cool. It's like totally random, these like operatives. Hey, what's that? Standard issue. No, I think I'm gonna keep that one. That looks cool. Recon, I haven't really unlocked anything other than that. I'll keep that. That's a cool skin. Anyway, oh, look at that. My squad, my NATO squad versus Pax Armata squad. Doesn't look half bad, eh? Doesn't look half bad. Anyway, I'm gonna quit the game and get back to what we were talking about before. Let me move this back to where it was. Okay. As I was saying, this is that skin. And what are they saying? Discussion about the questionable launch skin kicked off when Reddit user Boss Clan Intel shared an image of what appears to be the Recon class dead site skin. But okay. Yeah, I think this might be a little bit of an overreaction. I think, yeah, it does stand out a little bit. I think the other one with the neon green one even stands out more than this, to be honest. So I think, yeah, the players, these guys on the internet, kind of being a little bit too overreacting to this whole thing. I just don't think it's that bad compared to like what you get from Call of Duty. But I do understand, like, it might stand out a little bit more in the battlefield than other camouflages. I reckon this might work a little better for maps like Sobek City, where like it's just dust and like orange and yellow everywhere. But in a map with like a lot of greenery, this could stand out a little, you know. I don't know. Same with the other one. If you wear the neon green one that we just saw and wear that in Sobek City map, you would stand out so easily. Like you could, people can spot you so easily because you're just like a little bright green deadly frog just hopping around in a dusty map, you know. Yeah, not a big news or anything, but yeah. What do you guys think of this these little bit controversial skins, I suppose? Let me know. Anyway, I think that's pretty much covers everything that I wanted to talk about today. It's about time that we got back to Battlefield 6 finally. So I'm gonna end the stream right here, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your time. And if you wanna squad up in Battlefield 6, just join up in Steam or EA account. Add me. I've got all the information on my YouTube channel. If you go there on my Linktree or even Twitch, wherever you're watching this from, just go to the page and go to the Linktree and join up. You know, join my Discord. We can hang out there, and I'll see you guys on the Thursday stream. Thank you for joining in. I'll see you then. Bye bye.
Alright, private paradigm. The underdog's logging off. Baby! Thanks for hanging out for laughs, memes, and gaming clout. Even if I tripped, lost, or failed, you stuck around and that prevailed. We checked trailers, spilled the tea, mispronounced a game or three. Call of Duty fails, oh that's me. But the chat laughed along, pure victory. Grab your snacks, hydrate up, don't fall asleep. I'll be back soon with news to peep. The underdog may stumble, trip or rage, but you're the legends who fill my stage. Grab your snacks, hydrate up, don't fall asleep. I'll be back soon with news to peep. The underdog may stumble, trip or rage, but you're the legends who fill my stage.
Announcing chat, Jaybeazt is officially signing off. He may try to explain the plot of a game he hasn't played, argue with NPCs about story choices, or get stuck in the tutorial forever. And if someone says something wild in chat, he might go,
Oh mate, don't say that! Thanks for surviving the chaos, laughing at my fails and pretending my Call of Duty aim is fine. Catch you next time, same underdog energy, less chaos, maybe. But thanks for surviving the chaos, laughing at my fails, and pretending my Call of Duty aim is fine. Catch you next time, same underdog energy, less chaos, maybe.